Well, the first tribe on the west side of the Jordan to receive their inheritance was Judah. And verse 8 begins the story of just how it was that it happened this way. The camp of Israel was still located in Gilgal, and so some of the clan leaders of the tribe of Judah approached Joshua. And specifically, it was the clan of Kaleb, who sought to receive their land inheritance right now. No more waiting. So in a rather typical Middle Eastern fashion, Kaleb reminds Joshua of what happened many years earlier out.
All right, let's go over that in the sword real quick. So we go down to Joshua 6:14 and 6 is Caleb's request and inheritance. So the children of Judah came into Joshua in Gilgal, and Kaleb the son of Jephunneh. Jephunneh was an Israelite, and see how they'll put it in here. Jephunneh was an Israelite, right? But Kenizzite from Kenaz was not an Israelite. That was from Esau. Okay? So, as you look, you see patron, right? Patronymic. Hebrews 7073, all right? A Kenizzite, or a descendant of Kenaz, all right? Kenizzite, or Kenizzite. So remember that. Okay, remember that. Hold on, I just want to go down and check it. All right, Kenizzite, as we see the same thing. So it's a patronym from H, probably from an unused root meaning to hunt, hunter, Kenaz. Okay, Kenaz, the hunters. Okay, the name of a Edomite and two Israelites. Okay, so you can see the family of Kaleb. They joined in. So he'll explain that he joined in with the Edomites. His grandfather, his mother, married an Edomite, and then he also gave his daughter over to an Edomite because the Edomites were loyal to the Most High. Remember, Hawa made a covenant with Esau, okay, with Hagar, with his daughter, the Egyptian. I mean, with his son from the Egyptian daughter. Had a, as you can see, just so as you can see, it says. So it says the children of Judah. The children of Judah came into Joshua in Gilgal. What's really going on? Excuse me. The children of Judah came unto Joshua in Gilgal, and Kaleb the son of Jephunneh, and the Kenizzite. Okay, the Kenizzite. All right, so it's telling you he's a son of Jephunneh, which is Israelite, but somehow his family is mixed because he's a Kenizzite from the Kenizzite. All right, tribe, but he's still in the tribe of Judah. All right, said unto him, thou knowest the thing that Hawa said unto Moses, the man of Hawa, concerning me and thee in Kadesh Barnea. Okay, Kadesh Barnea. Okay, Kadesh Barnea. All right, and 40 years old was he. Okay, when they went into the land, when they went spies into the land. Okay, 40 years old was I when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea, okay, to spy out the land, and I brought him word again as it was in my heart. Nevertheless, my brethren that went up with me made the heart of the people melt, because I wholly followed Hawa. And Moses sware on that day, saying, surely the land wherein thy feet have trodden shall be thine inheritance and thy children's forever, because thou hast wholly followed Hawa, my God. Okay, and now behold, the Lord hath kept me alive, as he said, these 45 years, even since the Lord spoke this word unto Moses and to Moshe, while the children of Israel wandered in the wilderness. And now, lo, I am this day 40 and 50 and 45 years old. Okay, so 40 years later, he's 45. And yet, I guess he's 85 now. And yet, I am as strong this day as I was in the day of Moshe sent. He's 85 years old. Me as my strength was then, even so in my strength now. For war both go out and come in. Now, therefore, okay, so when you go down to 13, okay, so this one, like he says, according to the scriptures in Joshua 14:12. Now, therefore, give me this mountain whereof Hawa spoke in that day, for thou hearest in that day how the Anunnakis, the Anakims, were there, and that the cities were great and fenced. If so be the Lord will be me, then I shall be able to drive them out, as the Lord said. And Joshua blessed him and gave unto Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, he gave him Hebron for an inheritance. Okay, he gave him Hebron for an inheritance. Okay, Hebron therefore became an inheritance of Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, unto the day, because that he wholly followed the Lord, Hawa of Israel. Okay, and the name of Hebron before was what? Was Karyathaba, which Arba was the great man among the Anakims, the Anunnakis, right? The Anakims. And the land, these giants, had rest from war. Okay, so now, all right, so let's let them read a little bit more about Caleb, and then we'll see was Caleb Israelite, or was he part of Esau, or was he both? All right, so we'll do a little more research into that. All right, just give him a second.
In the wilderness, when Moses put together a scouting party of 12 to reconnoiter the land of Canaan, and Kaleb and the man he's now standing before, beseeching him for land, Joshua, they were among those 12. And of course, the story was that Israel was near the area of Kadesh Barnea in the southernmost desert region of Canaan, when Moses, at God's direction, decided it was time to make their move onto the land of Canaan. But the scouting party returned with bad news. They said the enemy was too well fortified. They were fierce warriors called the Anakim, who were giants, who were sure to annihilate Israel. Therefore, Israel should not attack Canaan. Now, Caleb and Joshua disagreed, not with the assessment necessarily, but with the conclusion. They agreed that the challenge was great and it was dangerous. But if God's with them, then victory is theirs. The majority won out. Israel was turned back into the desert. And what happened? They wandered around there for 38 more years. Now notice in verse 6 something. It's all too easy to just read over. It says Caleb was the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite. Now this is kind of startling when we understand what it means. Caleb's biological father was Jephunneh of the tribe of Judah, but Jephunneh died. Apparently, Caleb's mother remarried a fellow named Kenaz, hence the term Kenizzites. So Kenaz became Caleb's stepfather. Kenaz was descended from Edom, a non-Israelite tribe. So here we have Caleb, who's now closely tied to the Edomites, but yet still a member of the tribe of Judah, asking for his land inheritance. Kind of complicated, isn't it? The point is, as I mentioned time after time, there is no such thing as genealogical purity among the Israelites, and there wasn't even genealogical or familial purity among the earliest Hebrews going back to Abraham. But this was exactly as God intended it. The Lord told Abraham that any foreigner who wanted to join the Hebrews was welcome, but with the understanding that to join meant to worship only the God of Abraham. Later we find out in the early development of the nation of Israel, as founded by Jacob, that most of the people that he took with him as Israelites to Egypt were actually foreigners that he had captured at Shechem. So Kaleb is just another example of how race and genealogy matter little to nothing to the Lord.
Alright, well, that's partly true. But we know Kaleb and the Esau is a descendant of Shem. So this is Shem land. Okay, so that's what we have to that's what we have to discern, is that the children of Shem, okay, the children of Shem would be of various other nationalities other than just Judah, okay, or in Israelites. You have, like we said before, you have Armenians, you have Aram, you have Moabites, you have Ishmaelites. All these are descendants of Shem. Okay, so now, did Hawa make a covenant with these races also, with these nations also? Okay, and were they able to be Gentiles because they were Shem? Okay, and to be able to be Israelites? Okay, remember David? Okay, remember our seeds that combined into the seed of even Canaanites. Okay, so I'm gonna let them talk a little more, and then we're gonna get into our own research about this Kenaz and Kaleb, which was, as we seen in Joshua 14:6, that he was also given land. He was given part of the Jordan, but he also was in the tribe of Judah. Now this could be a descendant of Esau, Kaleb. Okay, but he was given a promise because he was faithful to the Lord. So him and his descendants. So watch how it plays out. Okay, so when we're trying to distinct things, we have to discern. Okay, and we have to discern. And now that we understand this and know this, well, we're not understanding yet. We're trying to overstand, right? So let's just put it together. All right.
Instead, it's trust in Him. It's faithfulness to Him. That's always been the issue. It is that faith and trust that makes one part of God's people or not.
Okay, so let's get into our actual research. Okay, and we'll be using the scriptures, of course. Okay, we'll be using the Torah, of course. Was Kaleb a Jew or a Gentile? Okay, now we know Kaleb was given Hebron. Okay, he was given Hebron. He fought the nations that none of the Israelites wanted to fight. Okay, remember. So Joshua blessed Kaleb, son of Jephunneh, okay, who was a Kenizzite, right, and gave him Hebron as his portion of the land. Okay, Hebron still belongs to the descendants of Kaleb, okay, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, because he wholeheartedly followed the Lord of Hawa of Israel. That's in that's in Joshua 14:13. So let's see. Okay, this goes to Numbers 13, chapter 1 and 6, as you can grab your Torahs and follow along. Okay, so, and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the children of Israel, from each tribe to their fathers. You shall send a man, every one of the leader among them. So Moses sent, okay, them from the wilderness of Paran, according to the command of Hawa, all of them men who were the heads of the children of Israel. Now these were the names: from the tribe of Reuben, Shammua the son of Zakar; from the tribe of Shimon, Japhat the son of Hori; and from the tribe of Judah, Kaleb the son of Jephunneh. So we already know Kaleb was from the tribe of Judah. Alright, but let's see how he's also from the Kenizzites, right? Which is from the tribe of Esau. Alright, Moses was commanded by Hawa to send 12 men, one from each tribe of Israel, to spy out the land of Canaan. Okay, one of the 12 spies was Kaleb from the tribe of Judah. He was the son of Jephunneh. Caleb and Joshua were the only two spies who brought back good report after their return from spying out in the land for 40 days. Okay, let's go to Numbers 13 and 25. And they returned from spying out the land after 40 days. All right, but they were outvoted by the rest of the spies who were too afraid to put their trust in Hawa and follow him wholeheartedly. So go to Numbers 32 and 12. Except Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, and Joshua, the son of Nun. All right, for they have wholly followed Hawa. Okay, then go to Numbers 34 and 19. These are the names of the men from the tribe of Judah. Caleb, the son of Jephunneh. Okay, now go over to Joshua, back over to Joshua 14 and 16. So it just verified. So then it just verified the children of Judah came to Joshua in Gilgal, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, right, said to him, you know the word which Hawa said to Moses, the man of God, concerning you and me in Kadesh Barnea, right? Caleb was from the tribe of Judah, but he was also the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite. Okay, because, well, yeah, let's just go along with it. Jephunneh, the Kenizzite. There is no information in the Bible about Jephunneh, the father of Caleb, but about Jephunneh's origin being a descendant of Kenaz. There is a passage which may offer some clues. Okay, so like he said, because Jephunneh had died and he picked on up a father who was from Esau, his stepfather. Okay, these were the names of Esau's son. Okay, Eliphaz, the son of Ada, the wife of Esau, and Ruel, the son of Basemath, okay, the wife of Esau, the son of Basemath, okay, the son of Basemath. All right, we know what base means. The son of Basemath, the wife of Esau, okay. And the sons of Eliphaz were Taman, Omar, Zepho, Gadam, and Kenaz. Okay, Kenaz was one of the grandsons of Esau. Okay, the descendants of Kenaz were born as Kenizzites. Okay, as Kenizzites. Okay, so what he's saying is really, the scriptures is really backing it up, that Kaleb was part of Esau. Okay, somehow. Okay, and then he continued to weave his seed into Esau, because he gave his wife up, as we'll see. I mean, he gave his daughter up to whoever helped him went into the land and conquered. Okay, the Anunnaki, the Anakim. Okay, Joshua 15. Wait, let's go up a little bit. So Genesis 36, 10 and 11. These were the name of Esau's sons, and one of them was Kenaz, right? His grandson. So Kenaz was one of the grandsons of Esau. The descendant of Kenaz were known as the Kenizzites. Because of his faithfulness to God, Caleb received an inheritance in the land as promised by God. All right, by promised by Hawa. Okay, so now to Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, he gave a share among the children of Judah. Okay, among the children of Judah, according to the commandment of the Lord of Yahshua. Okay, the commandment of the Lord of Yahshua, named Kiriath Arba, which is Hebron, known today as Hebron. Arba was the father of Anak. Okay, Anak. But the fields of the city and its villages, go to Joshua 21 and 12, okay? But the fields of the city and its villages they gave to Kaleb, the son of Jephunneh, as his possession, okay? And we're going to continue. Kaleb later promised to give his daughter, okay? To give his daughter to become the wife of the one who attacked and took the village of Kiriath Sefer, okay? Of Kiriath Sefer. Joshua 15, 16, and 7. Okay, and Caleb said, he who attacks Kiriath Sefer and takes it, to him I give Aksah, Aksah, my daughter, as wife. So Othniel, the son of Kenaz. So Othniel was a son of Kenaz, so this would have been like a stepbrother to him. Okay, or you understand, because he was from the stepfather. Okay, he was from the stepfather who married his mother, who married Kaleb's mother. Okay, who was from Esau. So therefore, this would have been his brother-in-law who took his mother, or his brother, his stepbrother who took his daughter. The brother of Kaleb took it, and he gave him Aksah, his daughter, as wife. Okay, so as we know, even though not only was he his stepfather, or he was, to the scriptures, he was also from the tribe of Esau, but he also gave his wife, okay, to Othniel, the son of Kenaz. Okay, and these are Esau, but remember, Esau is from Shem. He's from a descendant of Abraham. Okay, so interestingly, the man who was responsible for taking Kirath Safar was Othniel, the son of Kenaz, the younger brother of Kaleb. Othniel later played a very important part in history of Israel. Okay, let's go to Judges 3 and 9. When the children of Israel cried out to the Lord Hawah, they raised up a deliverer. The Lord raised up a deliverer for the children of Israel, who delivered them. Othniel was the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother. Okay, Kaleb was not only faithful to Hawah, he was also able to lead his family members to faithfully follow Hawah. Okay, this is from Esau. All right, as Kaleb and Joshua were the only adults. Okay, we know Joshua is from the tribe of Judah. All right, so and Kaleb should be less than the age of 20 at the time of the passing of the death sentence on the rebellious and unbelieving people. So Numbers 14 and 28 and 31. Say to them, as I live, says the Lord, Hawah, just as you have spoken in my ears, so I will do to you. Okay, the carcasses of you who have complained against me shall fall in the wilderness, all of you who were numbered according to your entire number, for 20 years old and above. From 20 years old and above, all will die because they forsake him. Okay, about this same Joshua and Kaleb going over into the promised land. Okay, so except for Kaleb, the son of Japhanet, okay, Japhanah, and Joshua, the son of Nun, you shall by no means enter the land which I swore, okay, I swore I will make you dwell in. But your little ones, whom you said would be victims, I will bring in, and they shall know the land which you have despised. In view of these Bible references, Kaleb was possibly married or was adopted into the tribe of Judah. He became an important member and a leader of the tribe of Judah, as he was called to be the one of the spies representing his tribe. Okay, so go to Exodus and 12. The mixed multitude went up with them. The mixed multitude went up with them, also the flocks and herds, a great deal of livestock. When Israel came out of Egypt, there was a mixed multitude of people who went up with them. Some Gentiles had attached themselves to Israel as they wandered in the wilderness. Okay, that's in Exodus 12 and 38. God, Hawah, has specially instructed Moses to make provisions for the strangers living among them to keep and partake the Passover. So go over to Exodus 12 and 48, as we can see. Okay, and when a stranger dwells with you and wants to keep the Passover to Hawah, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it, and he shall be as a native of the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat it. Okay, so like he told you, so this was from Esau, or it was from the Moabites, okay, or it was from the Ishmaelites, you know, and a bunch of other tribes that are part of Shem, like he said. He said if they want to live, and I'm for sure that's for Canaanites too, because as you see, Jacob had 2 Canaanite babies. Okay, so as you can see that if you give up your life to the Creator, you understand, you can live as a native, you can live as an Israelite. Okay, and we learned that from Ruth also. Okay, so based on these findings, Kaleb was a Kenizzite, but yet and still, he had married into the tribe of Judah during the time of slavery in Egypt, and before Hawa gave them the Torah at Mount Sinai. So he was truly a remarkable man of faith and courage. Okay, he had also inspired his younger brother and other members to follow in his footsteps in trusting and obeying Hawa. Okay, trusting and obeying Hawa. Okay, trust and obey Hawa. Okay, he is a wonderful and godly example for us to follow. Okay, we are also adopted in Hawa's family. We have also become the sons of Abraham. Okay, Galatians. Okay, just about, we talking about Israel, we talking about the sons of the Creator, obeying the Creator. And like I told you before, the Creator have a covenant with all of Abraham's sons. He have a covenant with all his people. So therefore, that includes Esau, as you can see, and that's how Esau ended up in the land. Okay, so if it's what you call today is what you call so-called the Caucasian. But remember, when it goes to even our descendants, and we go to the scriptures, we never use black or white terms in our Torah. We didn't speak English, so we didn't speak black or white. So when it speaks about black or white in the Torah, it's talking about black as being a depression state. So we go back to Ecclesiastics, where my brother teach me to be priestly, where he exposed the white as being purity, the cedars of Lebanon. So that's what it speaks about in the Bible and in the Apocrypha. When it's talking about black, it's talking about a depression state, majority of the time or all of the time, being a spiritual blackness or whiteness. Israel, you are a spiritual whiteness. Okay, you are a spiritual whiteness, a cedar from Lebanon. So that's what I just want to make it clear. So we can't discern. Like Yeshua said, we can't discern from how someone's look. You have to understand their vibration. How are they vibrating? You understand? Because we got a lot of people that look like you and me, the copper color, that's vibrating in a deceivable light. Okay, so we got to understand that it's not about how you look. Okay, we got to understand it's not how you look. Because as you can see, the Most High had a plan about his seeds, where he gathered his seeds into the same tribe, and they were from Esau. So therefore, let's finish it on Galatians 3 and 7. Therefore know that only those who are of faith are sons of Abraham. And if you are Christ, then you are Abraham's seed. So if you are Christ, you are Abraham's seed, and here's according to the promise. We too have a rich heritage and a great inheritance in the Hamashiach Christ. Let us serve Hawa faithfully, just like Kaleb did. All right. So yeah, so get with that and understand that, and empty your cup and fill it up, because it's a lot that we must learn from here. Okay. Ba Hashem Abba Hawa Yahavashua Hamashiach. Shalom, my Hebrew, Shalom, my Obari, my Ibrit. Alright, Shalom, my Obari people, man. How y'all feeling? Apala Ka Tawa. Man, I'm just showing y'all this video. This is leading to what we talking about. Us being the morning star, us being, the revelation, the Cuzco, us being, the Judean people of the Bible, us being the tribes of Judah, us being the tribes of Israel. What we're leading to is that, just how we left off from the last videos, the fact that Esau was into the kingdom, and Esau was able to was given our kingdom by the grace of Allah, and that the fact that Esau, along with the Gentiles, the Israelites, was able to overturn and welcome in the church of Satan after we build the church, and understand that this is actually a priest, Marvin Perkins. So he's going to get into the fact of that the books. When we talk about the books, we're talking about second Ezra. Okay, as we can, if you have that book, the second Ezra, it says in chapter 14, 44 to 48. So during the 40 days, 94 books were written. And when the 40 days were ended, the Most High spoke to me, saying, make public the 24 books that you wrote, all right, that you first wrote, and let thy worthy and unworthy read them, but keep the 70, okay, keep the 70 that were written last, in order to give them to the wise among your people, okay, for in them is the spring of understanding, the fountain of wisdom, and the river of knowledge. And I did so. Okay, now remember, this book was from the mouth of a Jew. So remember that we talking about a borrowed Hebrew people. Okay, so understand that. So what he's talking about is that so during the 40 days that they wrote this book, right? That we wrote this book, 94 books were written. Okay, and when the 40 days were ended, the Most High spoke to me, saying, make public the 24 books that you wrote first, and let the worthy and unworthy read them, but keep the 70 that were written last, in order to give them to the wise among your people. Alright, so as we can see in 2nd Ezra 14, 44 through 48, okay, it's not only what the enemies of Hawa did, but you got to understand that this is also what Hawa ordained to his people. Okay, this is what he ordained to his people. Alright, so when we go over to this video, okay, it's talking about a lot of things. It's talking about our priesthood. Remember in 1978, 79, okay, where we were allowed to go back into the priesthood over 100 years. This is after 100 years of not being able to be priests. Okay, now we know Hawa's vision. Alright, if we believe in the Hamashiach, then we know Hawa's vision is all about our priesthood. That's what we're talking about. Where he will raise a kingdom of priests. Okay, so if they took out books, what do you think that they were taking out? Alright, if they came in and taught you about a Hamashiach, an interpretation of your Christ, Hamashiach, what do you think that they're trying to get you to not understand? They're trying to get us to not understand the priesthood. Okay, if they spent 100 years to take us out of the priesthood, you understand? By interpreting the scriptures the wrong way. That's what we've been doing all this time, is interpreting the scriptures the wrong way. So now all this time we've been going on of what we've been taught. So the people who even came in cannot teach them. Alright, because they weren't even a full-blooded Israel. You understand? So allow this. We have to submit our will. We have to empty our cup. Alright, so listen to what the brother is saying, because it's about what our priest is saying, because it's about bringing us back to the real Ruach. Okay, the real Ruach. Something worth fighting for. The priceless Ruach. You have to understand that. We can't be led astray. We must understand we're getting to our Ruach. Listen, our ancient ancestors wrote the scriptures. They wrote the Torah in full. Okay, but we got it as if it's an Old and the New Testament. You understand that? Our people wrote it in full, but like it says, and Daniel closed the books up, we weren't able to get these books. So even when you go into the Book of Mormons, it's so much drop. All right, and we going in there, the book of Nephi, we going in there and we getting it out. Okay, so bear with me, have patience, have understand, man. We won't be led astray. We will not be led astray. All right, we did all the research on the hijack. Now we finna bust it wide open. I'm hitting you over the head with some real shit. Best believe that. Okay, best believe. You have to believe in the seed. You are the morning star, the feathered serpent. All right, we getting our feathered crown back. All right, when they came over, we had feathered crowns. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? That goes back. All right, that goes back, man, to your Americas. This is what we founded. Hawaii founded these lands for us. All right, before colonization, we are the Bacoba and the Cherokee. Okay, the Bacoba and the Cherokee is the Sakari. That is the Sakari that we read about in Caesar's Messiah. All right, and you got to understand the hijacking that. When they came in the invasion, we had a Messiah. All right, what did they do? They interpreted the Messiah so that to kill our mission. We was killing. All right, if you read about the Sakari, you know the Sakari carried daggers. We carried daggers and we was killing on the opponent of the Messiah. We was killing upon the faith of the Messiah. So you got to understand that in order for this Spanish or Caesar Borgia, or what we call is Vespasian. Okay, this Titus and Vespasian, before they created this Messiah, they only emulated what the Hebrew faith and the Hebrew people was talking about. That's why we go to the Hebrew language. Okay, and when we talk about Joshua, the son of Nun, when we go back to the Hebrew language, it's all there, written in stone for us. And we put this, our descendants put all this information on tablets. Okay, and you best believe it was our descendants who broke it up, and best believe it was our descendants who put it back into our lives, Israel. Okay, so understand, we can't be mad because we got to move forward. In order to move forward, we have to know peace. We have to know peace. There's a time for destruction. You best believe when the Hawaii gets his 144,000, there's a time for destruction on our enemies. But best believe when 144,000 is coming to destroy, best believe that the judgment is upon Israel. The first judgment is upon Israel. Okay, and 2/3 of Israel is not understanding. Okay, it's not understanding the gospel, and that went for me. But nah, I want to be counted for. You understand? And I know Israel want to be counted for. So man, dodge your hijacks. Okay, dodge your hijacks, man. We are the Aztecs. We are the Mayan. Okay, we are the old roots of the Cherokee. Okay, we are the Quetzalcoatl, the Cococan, the Hohocan, the Cucumats, the Gucamats. Okay, these are our codexes. Okay, that's what you have to understand. So now we're not letting nobody, you know what I'm saying, dodge us from the real inscription of our tablets. Okay, because it's for you. The time is now. All right, so that's enough talking. So this is a priest who's about to break down the whole movement of what you call the so-called Mormons and how it happened into now. Because remember, Esau got part of your kingdom. He got part of the promised land. Okay, he got Hebron. So you got to understand that still to this day. So that goes in, you know, so that goes in even the 2 Kings when we talk about 2 Kings 18 and 25, 18 and 24. Let's go there real quick. Okay. Bear with me, people. Let's go there real quick. When we talk about 2 Kings 18 and 25, okay, yeah, Esau did the covenant, and they did, you know, got into the covenant, but you got to understand, it's Esau who helped destroy it. Okay, Esau being part of the Gentile. Okay, so just listen to what I'm saying. Okay, understand what I'm saying. But we like it says in the scriptures, though. We're not condemning our brothers because don't stray your brothers, you know what I'm saying, because the Most High is going to take care of in time what he need to take care of. And what we need to know is peace and who amongst our brothers who finds the Hamashiach, okay, who finds the understanding, because who finds the Hamashiach is who finds the priesthood. Okay, because that's what the Most High sent us here for, is to find a priesthood as we get into it. But let's go to what was that? 2 Kings 18 and 24, I think it was. 2 Kings 18 and 24. Hold up, let me just verify. Let me just verify in the actual scriptures. Okay, 2 Kings. Yep, 2 Kings 18 and 24. Foreigners settled in Israel. Okay. Foreigners settled in Israel. That's 2 Kings 18 and 24. So, alright, we there. So it says, how then wilt thou turn away the face from one captain of the least of my master's servants, and put thy trust on Egypt for chariots and for horsemen? Okay. Am I now come up without Hawa against the place to destroy? Hold on one second. Okay, it says the king of Assyria transported troops from Babylon. Okay, why are we not seeing that? Hold on one second. Second Kings 18. Yeah, okay, so let's just read on a little bit. This says a little different. I'm gonna just read it from here so we get along. It says the king of Assyria transported groups of people from Babylon, Cutha, Aya, Hamath, and Sepharvaim, and resettled them in the towns of Samaria, replacing the people of Israel. Okay, they took possession of Samaria and lived in its town. But since these foreign settlers did not worship Hawa when they first arrived, the Lord sent lions among them, which killed some of them. Okay, this is 2 Kings 18 and 24. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I was wrong about that the whole time. It's 17. That's why we didn't see it. Okay, it's 17 and 24. Okay, so and the king of Syria brought men from Babylon and from Cutha and from Ava and from Hamath and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria, right, instead of the children of Israel, and they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. All right, dwelt in the cities thereof. Okay, so then it says, so a message was sent to the king of Assyria. The people who sent to live in the towns of Samaria did not know the religious customs of God and of the land of Hawa. So he has sent lions, okay? Hawa sent lions among them to destroy them because they have not worshipped him correctly. All right, so then when you get down to 32, it gives you a little more. It says, these new residents worship Hawa, but they also appointed from among themselves all sorts of priests to offer sacrifices at their worship. Okay, so they offered other priests. Okay, they offered other priests. Okay, so they're banning us from priesthood, right? And they're offering other priests, okay, to offer sacrifices in their place of worship. And though they worship the Lord, though they worship Hawa, they continued to follow their own gods according to their religious customs of the nations from which they came. So he's telling you they came from other nations, right? But they loved Hawa, so that's why they were sent into the nation, into Samaria. Okay, so this is another one in 2 Kings 17 and 32, that when Israel, when the northern tribe went into captivity, right? When we were exiled out of the land, that another tribe from another nation, okay, came in. So it might have been Shem, but it might have been Esau. You understand? So another tribe came in, another nation from other nations. Even though they worship Hawa, they still what? They still worship and follow their own gods according to their religious customs and the nations from which they came from. Okay, so that backs up what
We're also going to
Priest is
utilize
about
the
to say. So let's check it out.
social, basically to help you to have a better understanding of the scriptures themselves. And one thing that you're going to find is that all things testify of Christ. All right. So with that in mind, let's start with the plan of salvation, the very simple plan. All right. We started as spirit children, and our Father, loving Father, He wanted us to have all that He has. So He designed this plan. And in this plan, if we chose to take part of it, we got bodies, got a chance to come here to earth to be tested and to accept the testimony of Christ, and also then to get the ordinances of the priesthood through the temple. Those ordinances would allow us entrance into our Father's kingdom. All right? And so the priesthood and temples is essential to the entire plan of salvation. So if you restrict the priesthood, in essence, you've restricted the entire plan of salvation. It is of none effect in the lives of the people who you restricted priesthood from. So you have to understand the key, the importance, the essential nature of priesthood in the plan of salvation. It's what it's all about. You go down, get those ordinances, I'll give to get you back into my presence where I can get you everything. All right, so this is the most important building, or a representation of all the temples in the world, but the most important building on the face of the planet in the plan of salvation, because this is the building in which we get those ordinances that the whole plan of salvation was supported and surrounded, set up on. Now, for the first 22 years of the church, we gave priesthood to all men. And then in 1852, unfortunately on my birthday, February 5th, 1852, so I always say I was born to do this work, we turned and we started doing something different. All right? And so we created a policy.
So as you can hear him say, the priest say from 1852. All right? All the way up until 1852. Okay? All the way up until 1852 is when what did he say? When we allowed the priesthood of our people. Okay? It stopped in 1852. Alright, we know 1778 was what? That's when this Declaration of the United States, or 1776, 1778. Okay, we know 1778 is 1208. Right? 1778 is 1208. Alright, so what does that mean? 54 years later, 1208, 54 years later, what would that be? 1262. So by 1262, which is 1852, right? By 1262, we could no longer enter into a priesthood. Okay? Now, was this ordained by the Most High? Because it seemed to appear that our brother, which appeared to be our enemy, wasn't allow us in the priesthood, right? So by 1262, we couldn't be in the priesthood. All right, we could no longer be in the priesthood, but I'm sorry, matter of fact, I got that wrong. By 1852, we allowed into the priesthood. No, 1852 we weren't allowed into the priesthood until 1978. Okay, so that was over 100 years. Okay, so like we said before, 1262 from 1208, like he said in 1852. Okay, from 1778. Okay, let's go over that. 1778 to 1852. Okay. Is, I don't know, many years from 1778? It's probably about 70 some years. Okay, so 70 some years after 1208 is how much? Is 1280 something. 1280, sorry. So 1280 would be the year. And I ain't doing the math, we just doing it on. So y'all can gather it up. Okay? But the year 1208 is 1778. Okay, so do the fake date 1778 to 1852. Okay, so you got 52 years there, you got 22 years there, so you got a total of 74 years. 74 years after the Declaration of the United States, we no longer can be in the priesthood. Okay, so for 120 years we couldn't be in the priesthood. So we had to prove for 120 years. We had to prove, it took us 100 years to prove the scriptures, to prove them after our own people wrote them and provided them. Alright, we had to prove that. Alright, so in 1978 is when we were allowed to be back into the priesthood. Alright, so let's get into the video. You can check it out. And then we can calculate them dates to the Pacific times, around the Pacific times later. And you know, who knows, but it's very close, man. It sounds just about right. Alright, so let's get into it.
So what we did is we created a wall that blocked entrance, a wall that blocked the plan of salvation in the lives of people of color. And that's when the prayers began. This is the only reason we're here. And so that wall created, that policy created a wall. Now there were several people, not only people of color, but other people within the church that were really kind of bothered by the change of why we are now doing just the opposite of what we did for the first 22 years of this church. And so there were teachings created to justify what we were doing now.
Alright, so we know that this church, right, the church that we speak of, right, the Italy, right, where they sacrificed the Cathars, right, that's why it calls you Cathars, the parfait. This is the Church of Italy in Rome, alright, where they hold all the where they hold the doctrine, right, and bring out the ordinances, right. Okay, the Most High said that it would be a church of Satan. It's two churches, the Church of Christ and the Church of Satan. And we'll get into that and how the Church of Satan came into the Gentiles and were able to persuade them. Okay, we're able to persuade them. That's why he speaks of this different Jesus in 1 Corinthians. I think that's 1 Corinthians. This different Christ, and yeah, I think it's 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians. I can't remember but we can get in. We'll get into that also. Where you talk about this different. The Gentiles were coming into this different teaching. Okay, Israel was coming into this different teaching of the Hamashiach, the different gospels. Okay, so we'll get into that. But what he's talking about is fence sitters in the pre-existence curse, the seed of Cain, a murderer, representatives of Satan here on earth, lowly, uncouth, lazy, and detestable to others, would not receive the priesthood in this lifetime. Dark skin is a mark of unworthiness, and who marry them should be killed on the spot. It was time for everybody else but you. So what he's talking about, when they talk about dark skin, it's not talking about a physical dark skin. You know, it's talking about a depression, a spiritual depression, a spiritual depression, a spiritual. Alright. And so Ezekiel 31:10 says, and one built up a wall, and lo, others daubed it with untempered mortar. Alright. And so it's telling you how the church of Satan was building up a wall. Okay, to keep us out of the priesthood, okay, to keep the books from us. And we're gonna get into all that. So let's go ahead with no further.
That actually became the second wall. And these walls, these teachings, as you can see popping up on the screen, if anybody who's done any research on this subject at all has seen these teachings that were shared. Now, when you teach these things to a group of people over a long period of time, what happens to their attitudes toward the people that are on the other side of that wall? Well, it created a third wall, actually. The people learned to hate the people of color. They learned to despise them, not teach to them. They learned to think that they were, whatever was their fate was their fault and their doing. And so those attitudes created a third wall. And then, what do you think people of color and others outside of the church think about a church that teaches, that has such a policy, that has such teachings, and has such attitudes? Well, that actually created a perception outside the church that we were racist, that we worship some other kind of God because the Bible says that God is no respecter of persons, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is teaching that he is. And so that created these perceptions that just really put up a strong fortification. So we have these four walls of restriction on priesthood. Now, people think that only include the men in that conversation, but you have to understand, if you understand the basic plan of salvation, the priesthood essential to getting the ordinances that get us back into the presence of the Father, then what that means is that the women and the children were also restricted from the whole purpose that they were down here. Because,
I mean, do we understand that? Israel, Yasharala, do we understand that? Yakar, do we understand that? Do we understand that if we are out of the priesthood, then our children, our daughters, our sons, our mothers, our fathers are out of the priesthood? Okay, so that was the big thing. So it says in Alma 3:9-11, and this from the book of Nephi, is from the book of Mormon. How great iniquity we brought upon the Zoramites. For when they saw your conduct, they would not believe in my words. Okay, when they saw your conduct, they would not believe in the scriptures. Okay, and that's how we live in today, because of how when they saw the conduct of these so-called whites, you understand that we rebelled against the actual reading and interpretation of the priesthood. Okay, we left it astray, we ran from it. Okay, we ran from it. How we ran to Egypt, we ran from it instead of dealing with it to understand it. That's how we died in the forest, we died in the wilderness, because we didn't understand. We rebelled from it. Okay, so let's understand.
Temple entrance was blocked. Certain callings were blocked. They wouldn't preach to people of color in many places. So women and children have to be included in this conversation when we start talking about restriction. So in 1978, we did some demolition. All right? So a wall came down. Rejoicing. Everybody I talked to, they remember where they were when this happened, and so many saints rejoice. So let's go back and take a look at our temple and the walls. And so 1978, that's 136 years we've had these four walls in place. And then the policy came down. But as soon as the policy came down, we stopped talking about it. We didn't go back and we didn't correct the teachings. And so not only did the teachings remain, but they even started to take a different shape. While only the Levites had the priesthood in the Old Testament, which wasn't true, and just more of those things. So they actually fortified the walls of the teaching which actually fortified the walls of the attitudes. Yeah, we really, even though we changed the policy, we had a right to have those attitudes, and it actually fortified the perceptions. People outside the church really became even more convinced of how wrong we were because of these things.
So as you can read, only the Levites were given the priesthood in the Old Testament. Some things are mysteries God reveals in his time. Blacks just weren't ready. Just avoid blacks. We don't preach to them because that was revealed to a prophet. To a prophet. I don't know why. That's the way Hawa wanted it. Reasons are known by Hawa, but not yet revealed to man. Okay? So was this Hawa? Okay, so we'll get into that. When we get into the book of Nephi, we're going to understand that. We're going to understand it. So, alright, these are the books that they didn't never want us to read. Okay, now we getting them back. We understand them. We're putting them all together. The Apocrypha, all these books that were missing, we understand it, man. We chasing the real Ruach. You understand? We chasing the real Ruach. This is a war. You understand? This is a war. So, let's check it out. So these are the teachings. Alright, so where's our priesthood? Understand that. So here we are. Let's check it out.
And so, brothers and sisters, until we take down those other three walls, the restriction is actually still in place. And that's part of why we're here today. And this is part of why we teach this all out throughout the world, is those teachings are actually found in your scriptures. And we're going to, hopefully what you're going to do is study the things out that we share today, get your own testimony, and then share it with everybody you know. Social media, everywhere you go. Every place I go, I talk to somebody, especially if they're a member, and we cover this. And my family, they see missionaries. I have to change the way my family sees missionaries, because right now they see a missionary, they're like, oh no.
Missionaries, that's a beautiful thing. You ever been to a missionary? It's a beautiful thing. Alright? It's a beautiful thing to be able to help, to be able to look upon the congregation and help the congregation, to know, to be a part of the congregation, to be a part of the poor people, man. It's a beautiful thing. So let's get over here. That 136 years that the priest says, that Priest Perkins says, talks about if you talk about the 136 years that we were denied the priesthood, right? If that was ordained by the Most High, then this is also ordained by the Most High also. The burning of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Okay? In
Now,
Paris.
the mayor of Paris has just said Anne Hidalgo is in total despair for the cathedral. Damage may have been done to the cathedral. Priceless pieces must have been lost.
Yeah, well, we don't know yet what's happened sort of lower down. It's clear that the whole roof, well, much of the roof appears to be damaged. I mean, I guess it's the wooden beams that are burning.
Victor, I'm just seeing that the Paris police has been...
So as you can see, man, when we get into the book of Nephi, we'll pretty much break it down. And I think we'll go over there right now. As you can see about the priesthood, the books, and how they were kept from us. Okay, and so let me get over there. Actually, 1 second. Okay. Let me make sure. Let me make sure I'm on the right page. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we'll get back to the priest too and see what he's talking about as he's breaking down the deceptions of just the racism and everything, and how we had to put our boots on the ground and we had to fight the inception of racism instead of running and fight the inception of racism and claim our priesthood. You have to understand, because Esau did not only know the law, but they didn't understand, and they still to this day deny your Hamashiach. They deny the real their brothers. They deny Israel. They deny Judah. Okay, they deny Judah. Okay, by denying the Hamashiach, they deny Judah, the seed. Okay, so Nephi sees. Now this is what they correlate with Samuel's vision. Okay, Samuel's prophecy. So Nephi sees in a vision in the church of the devil set up among. Okay, Nephi sees in vision. Okay, the church of the devil set up among the Gentiles. Okay, the discovery and colonization of America, the loss of many plain and precious parts of the Bible. Okay, the resultant state of the Gentile apostasy, the restoration of the gospel, the coming forth of latter-day scripture, and the building up of Zion. Okay, so anybody talking about building up of Zion is talking about, okay, it's talking about the Hebrew people. Okay, so let's read it again. Nephi sees in vision the church of the devil set up among the Gentiles. Alright, so we're talking about after the Hamashiach sends Paul. After the Hamashiach, our Hamashiach sends Paul to talk to the Gentile Israelites. Okay, so remember in Joshua, as it said that after Joshua died, after the elders died, Joshua passed, the elders passed, all of them worshipped Hawa until after that passed. That's when the church of Satan came in. Okay, it was allowed to come into the church. So listen, all right, and remember what the priest said is that the fact that we started the church 20 years later into the church, that's when we no longer could, you understand? We no longer could be a part of the priesthood. All right, so Nephi sees in vision the church of the devil set up among the Gentiles, the discovery. Okay, so hold up 1 second. Shalaki, Shalom. Yeah, so before we get into it, man, we just want to, skim through as far as why we think that the mother church burned, okay, over there in Italy. Okay, the mother church burning could be for several reasons. Okay, for one, we know about the persecution of the Cathars, the Parfaits. For two, about the 126 years not allowing the Negro, Judah, into the priesthood. For three, we know for all those years not allowing us. Okay, us meaning the descendants of the Negro slaves, descendant of slaves. Okay, which were the indigenous people of the Marucans and of the lands all over. Enabled us to read the scriptures, the Torah, the Gospels. Okay, and for four, the continual racism from the prophets who couldn't even prophesy. So-called from 1852, right, to 1978. A continual racism from the prophets who couldn't even prophesy. Okay, for it says over in 2 Kings 17 and probably about 30, 32. For you pick prophets who wasn't even ordained by the Most High. You pick prophets who didn't even know the scriptures in totality. You pick prophets who didn't even understand the idioms that were in the Torah, the Gospels. And then you allow somebody by the name Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, this German. Alright, you named him the father of scientific anthropology from the University of Jena in Jena, Germany. You named him the father of anthropology, the father of race, and he allowed to call us brown, black, white, yellow, and correlating it into the scriptures as if the scriptures ever talked about color. So, but I don't want to leave and allow, you know, the fellow brothers and sisters to think that then through those years of non-allowance and the priesthood like that actually enabled us, that it stopped us. It didn't stop us. Okay, because the priesthood of the Afro Khan still continued on. That was Brigham Young who enacted that priesthood ban, right? And he was only influenced by the curse of Ham. He was influenced by this curse of Ham, this curse of Cain that came about from the Southern Baptists. And if you can remember, in the South, after the Declaration of Independence, or after, you understand, after they freed the slaves, the South was a Confederate states. They were Confederates, so they didn't listen to the state laws. So therefore, out of fear, okay, from the Southern churches, they practice and preach the influence of the curse of Ham, the curse of Cain, like we were Canaanites. Okay, and didn't understand that it was a spiritual curse. So we fought the inception. And there's at least 8 priests during that time that was ordained into the priesthood, because this racism or racial ban for priests was all over the world. It wasn't just in Italy or the Americas. It was all over the world. What that church said went. So we just want to, before we continue to read, we just want to give thanks and give thanks to Hawa, okay, and give thanks to our Hamashiach, and give thanks to the priests who kept fighting the inception and joining the priesthood, and who continued to join Hawa and to join the true prophecies of Hawa. Alright, so we twist up a lot for Black Pete, alright, because in 1832 he was ordained. Joseph T. Ball in 1833, he was ordained by Brigham Young. Elijah Abel, alright, he was ordained by Joseph Smith in 1836. Isaac Van Meter in 1837. Walker Lewis in 1844. William McCary in 1846. And the grandson of Elijah, it was Enoch Abel, and that was in the 1900s. Well, he wasn't the grandson. Elijah Abel with the same name, that was in 1934. That was the actual grandson. All right, so through the 18 and 1900s, they tried to enforce it, but it wasn't happening. So twist up a lot to those who fought racism, because it was racism that enacted this priesthood ban and a bunch of other bans for the Negro, the Judean people. All right, so it's a beautiful thing. Now let's get into the drop. All right, let's get into the drop. So it came to pass that an angel spoke unto me, saying, Look. And I looked and beheld many nations and kingdoms. And the angel said unto me, the dragoon said unto me, What beheldest thou? And I said, I beheld many nations and kingdoms. And he said unto me, These are the nations and the kingdoms of the Gentiles. And it came to pass that I saw among the nations of the Gentiles the formation of the great church. And the angel said unto me, Behold, for the formation of the church, which is the most abominable above all other churches, which slayeth the saints of God, the saints of Hawa. Now we know, people, we know you the saints of Hawa. We know that, right? So we knowing that this is a church, a great church that will go against and will slay the saints of Hawa. But when we talking about an actuality, we talking about Paul. We talking about all the saints after that of the Hamashiach that were in prison and that were slayed, got their heads cut off for professing to the Hamashiach. And it came to pass that I beheld this great and abominable church and saw the devil, that he was the founder of it. Now we talk about devil because we talk about what could permit so much evil. You understand? So anyone who says that there is no devil or that there is no, you understand, doesn't understand the great spiritual evil powers. But when we as Hebrews and Christians say that, you know, when we talk about Lucifer in the accents of light bearing, you understand, light bearing, you know, we just go up and down with the depths of the definitions, but we understand it in all totality of what bearing light and a disagreeable light in contrast to a high vibrational righteous light. Okay, so, and I also saw gold and silver and silks and scarlets and fine twined linen and all the manner of precious clothing, and saw many harlots. Okay, and what he's talking about, that your so-called prophets and your so-called apostles that would turn for money. Okay, well, not necessarily apostles, but those who came after. Okay, and we don't want to say what that was, but and the dragoon spoke unto me, saying, Behold, the gold and the silver and the silks and the scarlets and the fine twin linen and the precious clothing and the harlots, okay, are the desires of this great and abominable church. Okay, so this was one who would reverse, all right, reverse the prophecy of bringing the people to Hawa. Okay, and also for the praise of the world they do destroy the saints of Hawa, and bring them down into captivity. Okay, so those at that time, okay, remember how the church being banned, we had to go underground, and you got to understand that when we spoke of the Hamashiach, which speaking of the righteous of our Father, you know, we would be penalized, we would be charged with sedition. So this was banning a lot of things because they were stopping the uprising of our people. Okay, and it came to pass that the angel said unto me, Behold, the dragoon said to me, Behold, the wrath of Hawa is upon thy seed of thy brethren. Okay, so now it's letting us know that this was some type of prophecy. This was the wrath of Hawa. Okay, that would go into another people, okay, or that would bring upon this spirit. And I looked and beheld a man among the Gentiles who was separated from thy seed, okay, a man who was separated from thy seed, of my brethren by many waters, okay, somebody who was far away, all right, somebody who was far away, separate from us. And I beheld the spirit of Hawa that it came down in wrath upon that man. Okay, somebody who was separate from us, and he went forth upon many waters, even into us, even until the children of Israel who were in the promised land. Okay, so now the wrath of Hawa, the hand of the Lord, is coming down on us, that it even went into that spirit, Now, now, as we continue, we see this is true prophecy. And it came to pass that I beheld the spirit of Hawa, that it wrought upon other Gentiles, and they went forth out of captivity upon the many waters. Okay? And it came to pass, now these Gentiles that were in captivity, okay, it went forth out of captivity upon many waters. And it came to pass that I beheld many multitudes of the Gentiles upon the land of promise, and I beheld the wrath of Hawa, that it was thy seed of my brethren, and they were scattered before the Gentiles and were smitten. Okay, so this even when you go into 2 Kings. Okay, the Gentiles. Okay, would also be Shem. So when you talk about Esau and you talk about Shem, so understand you're talking about Israel. This is go to the Confederates, the confederacies that were formed in Psalms 83. Okay, so when you talk about the separate tribes scattering, but the separate tribes that were in the family of Shem. Okay, and I beheld the spirit of Hawa, that it was upon the Gentiles, and they did prosper and obtain the land for their inheritance. And I beheld that they were white and exceedingly fair and beautiful, like unto my people before they were slain. All right, so when we know how we know that this is not talking about in an English state of being white and black, it's talking about a spiritual state. Okay, because this would be an idiom. Okay, it would be an idiom when it talks about that. And I beheld the spirit of Hawa, that it was upon the Gentiles, and they did prosper and obtain the land for their inheritance. And I beheld that they were white and exceedingly fair and beautiful, like unto my people before they were slain. Okay, so when we talking about Israel, when we talk about Gentiles, we're talking about Israelites. Okay, so he's saying in spiritual sense they were white, so that means they were ordained to be there and they followed the Creator. Okay, even if they still worship idols, they still love the Creator, as it says in 2 Kings. All right, in 2 Kings 18 and 30. 17 to 24. Okay, that was when Israel was exiled out of the land and foreigners came into the land, and he speaks that those foreigners love and obeyed the Creator, but they still worship idols. So that's telling us that these foreigners were akin to the Creator. Okay, these Gentiles were exiled Israelites. Okay, and or exiled families of Shem. Okay, and I beheld that the power of Hawa was with them, and also that the wrath of Hawa was upon all those that were gathered together against them in battle. And I, Nephi, beheld that the Gentiles that had gone out of captivity, okay, that had gone out of captivity, delivered by the power of Hawa out of the hands of all other nations. Okay, so these Gentiles that were delivered out of captivity were able to go into the land of Samaria and take the place of the Israelites. Okay, and it came to pass of some of the tribes of Israel. And it came to pass that I, Nephi, beheld that they did prosper in the land, and I beheld a book. Okay, and it was carried forth among them. And the angel said unto me, knowest thou the meaning of the book? And I said unto him, I know not. And he said, behold, it proceeded out of the mouth of a Jew. And I, Nephi, now when it talks about Jew, it's talking about a seed of Judah, not the Jew, the Esau. It's talking about a seed of Judah, of the Judean tribe of Judah, of Jacob. Okay. And I, Nephi, beheld it, and he said unto me, the book that thou beholdest is a record of the Jews, which containeth the covenants of Hawa, which he hath made unto the house of Israel, and it also containeth many of the prophecies of the holy prophets. And it is a record like unto the engravings which are upon the plates of brass. Okay? Save there are not so many. Nevertheless, they contain the covenants of Hawa, which he hath made unto the house of Israel. Wherefore they are great worth unto the Gentiles. They are great worth unto the Gentiles. Okay, so this book, all right, this book is a record of the Jews, the record of the children of Judah. Okay, so Israel didn't keep that. When we broke up the tribes, remember, Israel went to Jeroboam. The 10 tribes of Israel went to Jeroboam, so we don't speak about them in the scriptures in 2 Kings. They went on, and we don't know what, you know what I'm saying, but nevertheless, they were exiled, and then they were able to come back in. Okay, so, but they didn't really adhere still, because of the idol worship, to the records. Okay, so saved there are not so many. Not so many were saved. Nevertheless, they contain the covenants of Hawa, which he hath made unto the house of Israel. Wherefore they are of great worth unto the Gentiles. And the angel of Hawa said unto me, Thou hast beheld that the book proceeded forth from the mouth of a Jew. And when it proceeded forth from the mouth of a Jew, it contained the fullness of the gospel of Hawa. Okay, so he's telling you that when the records came forth from us, okay, from the Judean people, it contained fullness of the gospel of Hawa, of whom the 12 apostles bear record, and they bear record according to the truth, which is in the Lamb of Hawa. Okay, we bear record from the beginning. Okay, from the beginning, we bear record according to the truth which is in the Lamb of God, the Lamb of Hawa, the Lamb. Okay, wherefore these things go forth from the Jew in purity. Okay, when we sent it into the Gentiles, that's when you see the Hamashiach giving it into the Gentiles, sending it into the 7 churches. Okay, according to the truth which is in Hawa. Alright, now that's the truth going to the 7 churches. The angel sending the angel to the 7 churches. And after they go forth by hand of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. Okay, he sent the 12 apostles to the 7 churches, remember, of the Lamb, from the Jews unto the Gentiles. Okay, from the Jews, from the children of Judah, to the Gentiles, to the other Israelites. And this could be broad, because we know how Hawa is. Okay, David had seeds from Canaan, and we had seeds from Shem, our own seed, which is from Ham is from Canaan, but Canaan is from Ham too. But what I'm saying is that we had seeds also from Esau. Okay, well, we joined in to Esau. Okay, so unto the Gentiles thou seest the formation of the great and abominable church, which is most abominable above all other churches. For behold, they have taken away from the gospel of the Lamb many parts which are plain and most precious. Okay, and also many covenants of Hawa have they taken away. Okay, give me 1 second. Shalaki Shalom. So where we going from here, man, where we coming from is where we establishing that the Torah, including the Gospels of the Lamb, was interpreted out of the mouth of the children of Judah. Okay, of the children of Judah, then it was taken away and given to the Gentiles in dismay and disarray, incomplete. Okay, so we finishing on 27. So like taking away, okay, taken away. They have taken away from the gospel of the Lamb many parts which are plain and most precious, and also many covenants of Hawa they have taken away. Okay, so let's finish. And all this have they done that they might pervert the right ways of Hawa. Pervert the right ways of Hawa. And they might blind the eyes and harden the hearts of the children of men. Okay, we're talking about a 2/3, and we know what happens after you harden the hearts. After Hawa harden the heart, what comes? The destruction. Wherefore thou seest after the book have gone forth. Okay, he's seen this after the book have gone forth through the hands of the great and abominable church, that there are mainly and plain and precious things taken away from the book, which is the book of Lamb of Hawa. Okay, so the abominable church took these things away. And after these plain and precious things were taken away, it goeth forth into all the nations of Gentiles. Okay? And after it goeth forth into all the nations of Gentiles, yeah, even across many waters, which thou hast seen with the Gentiles. Okay, many waters. We talking about over the back to Africa, to what you call Africa, to what you call the Saudi Arabia, to everywhere. To Asia, to everywhere all over the world. These after the precious things being taken out, then it's given to you. Okay, even across the many waters. Okay, has seen with the Gentiles which have gone forth out of captivity. Okay, thou seest because of many plain and precious things which have been taken out of the book, which were plain unto the understanding of the children of men, according to the plainness which is the Lamb of Hawa. Because of these things which are taken away out of the gospel of the Lamb, an exceedingly great many stumble. Okay, because of these things which are taken away out of the gospel of the Lamb, an exceedingly great many do stumble. Yeah, insomuch that Satan has great power over them. Okay, because of these things which are taken away out of the gospel of the Lamb, and exceedingly great many do stumble. Yeah, insomuch that Satan has great power over them. Nevertheless, thou beholdest that the Gentiles who have gone forth out of captivity, okay, these are Israelites, have been lifted up by the power of Hawa above all other nations upon the face of the land, which is choice above all other lands, which is the land that Hawa, God, has covenant with thy father, that is seed, that his seed should have the land of their inheritance. Wherefore thou seest that Hawa will not suffer that the Gentiles will utterly destroy the mixture of thy seed. Okay, he's talking about the Israelites when he's talking about the mixture of thy seed. Okay, how it was mixed with Esau, Aram, Midian, Moab, all to worship Hawa. Okay, we know about David in the Canaanite seeds. We know about Jacob, and the Israelites with the seed of Esau. Okay, that made a covenant to Hawa. Okay, we know about Abraham's son by the Egyptian. Okay, neither will he suffer the Gentiles shall destroy thy seed of thy brethren. So the wicked Gentile, okay, will not destroy thy seed. Okay, neither will the Lord Hawa suffer that the Gentiles shall forever remain in that awful state of blindness. Okay, you will not remain in that awful state of blindness. Okay, you will come to the light of the Lamb, which thou beholdest they are in, because of the plain and most precious parts of the gospel of the Lamb, which have been kept back by the abominable church, whose formation thou hast seen. Okay, so everything is exposed. Okay, wherefore said the Lamb of Hawa, okay, said the Lamb of Hawa, I will be merciful unto the Gentiles, and to the visiting of the remnant of the house of the great judgment, in the great judgment. Okay, so that's why we say endure. Endure. Endure to the law of Moses. Endure. Endure to the Lamb. Alright? Endure to the Lamb of Hawa. Endure to your Yahshua and to your Yahusha. Okay? And to the visiting of the remnant, because the day of judgment is coming. And it came to pass that a dragoon of Hawa spoke unto me, saying, Behold, said the Lamb of Hawa, after I have visited the remnant of the house of Israel, and this remnant of whom I speak is thy seed of thy father. Okay? Wherefore I have visited them in judgment, and smitten them by the hands of the Gentiles. And after the Gentiles do stumble exceedingly because of the most plain and precious parts of the gospel of the Lamb, which have been kept back by the abominable church, which is the mother of harlots, of whores, said the Lamb, I will be merciful unto the Gentiles in that day, insomuch that I will bring forth unto them in my own power much of my gospel. Okay? Much of my gospel, which shall be plain and precious, said the Lamb. Alright, so those of you didn't figure out, I'm going to bring it more plainly. So, for behold, said the Lamb, I will manifest myself into thy seed. Okay, like I've been telling you. I will manifest myself into thy seed. Every nigga has a dragoon. Everybody has a dragoon. For they shall write many things which I shall minister unto them. Okay, the writings from the mouth of a Jew, which shall be plain and precious, and after thy seed shall be destroyed. They dwindle in unbelief. That's what happened. After thy seed was destroyed, you dwindled in unbelief because of the great church that brought the abominations. They took out of the book, which was prophecy. And also thy seed of thy brethren, behold, these things shall be hid up, to come forth into thy Gentiles by the gift and the power of the Lamb. And in them shall be written my gospel, said the Lamb, and my rock and my salvation. And Baruch, and blessed are they who shall seek to bring forth my Zion in that day, for they shall have the gift and the power of the Holy Spirit, the Ruach. In Hebrew we call it the Ruach. Okay, transliteration is the Holy Ghost. And if they endure unto the end, they shall be lifted up. Okay, if you endure to the end, okay, they shall be lifted up at the last day, and shall be saved in the everlasting kingdom of the Lamb. And whoso shall publish peace, all right, shalom, Shabbat shalom, peace, yeah, tidings of great joy, how beautiful upon the trees, the mountains shall they be. And it came to pass that I beheld the remnant of thy seed of thy brethren, and also the book of the Lamb of Hawa, which hath proceeded forth from the mouth of that Jew, that it came forth from the Gentiles unto the remnant of thy seed of thy brethren. And after it came forth unto them, I beheld other books, which came forth by the power of the Lamb from the Gentiles unto them, unto the convincing of the Gentiles and the remnant of thy seed of thy brethren, and also the Jews who were scattered upon all the face of the earth. The Jews who were scattered upon all the face of the earth, that the records of the prophets and the 12 apostles of the Lamb are true. Okay, so Hawa said, which is the Lamb, said that he sent out. Okay, he sent out other books, letting know that to these prophets, that letting know to these Jews who were scattered all abroad, that the words are true. Okay, so he prophesied it to us, whether we knew it or not. That's why we speak of this great word today. And the dragoon spoke unto me, saying, These last records which thou hast seen among the Gentiles shall establish the truth of the first. Okay, the truth of the first, which are the 12 apostles of the Lamb. Okay, the truth of the first meaning what we wrote the first time. Okay, remember the Torah established, entailed, embodied the gospel of the Lamb. That was from the mouth of a Jew. It shall be taken and shall make known the plain and precious things will have been taken away from them, and shall make them known to all kindreds, tongues, and peoples, that the Lamb of Hawa is the Son of the Eternal and the Savior of the world, which is Judah and Israel, and that all men must come into him, and they cannot be saved, or they cannot be saved. Okay? And shall make known to all kindreds, tongues, and peoples, that the Lamb of Hawa is the Son of the Eternal Father and the Savior of the world, Judah, Israel, and that all men must come into him, or they cannot be saved. In layman's terms, every Naga has a dragon. Every Israel, every child, every son of man has a Yahusha. You must run to it. You must run to it. For he said, the Spirit will come upon the children. Yahusha will come upon the children of men. The Spirit will come into you. You will embody. Okay? And they must come accordingly to the words which shall be established by the mouth of the Lamb. Okay? And they must come according to the words which shall be established by the mouth of the Lamb. And the words of the Lamb shall be made known in the records of thy seed from the mouth of a Jew, proceeded from the mouth of a Jew. Okay? From the same seed in which you are, from the mouth of a Jew. Okay? And the words of the Lamb shall be made known in the records of thy seed, as well as in the records of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. Wherefore they both shall be established in one. Okay, for there is one God, one Hawa, one Creator, one Framer, one Shaper, one Abba, one Ima, and one Shepherd over all the earth. One Hamashiach, one seed, one lineage, one line. David, stand up. And the time cometh that he shall manifest himself into all nations, both into the Jews and also into the Gentiles. And after he has manifested himself into the Jews and also into the Gentiles, then he shall manifest himself into the Gentiles and also to the Jews. And the last shall be first, and the first shall be last, and there'll be one stick. One stick. Shabbat Shalom, my people. Remember law's vibration. Stand up, Yasharala. Y'all get back at me what y'all think from this. I'm gonna hurry up and stop this recording for my computer shut off. But Halil Hawa, Halil Hawa, Ba Hashem, Abba Hawa, Yahweh Shua, Hamashiach. Y'all stay vibrating up. Y'all stay levitated up. The record of the truth proceeded out of the mouth of a Jew. We bear the records. Inside our hearts, we bear the records. And through the Lord's will, it will manifest through our tongues. Ba Hashem. Ehad. To the Shabbatah. AD, where you at, man? I just want to spend a special thanks to AD and his family, man. AD, my brother with overstanding to a lot of things, who himself have overcome a lot of obstacles like myself. Who has the heart, man, has the heart of pure whiteness, of purity. All right, AD, man, twist up a lock. I'm twisting up a lock right now to your family, to Elijah, to your prince, okay, and to your family, man, to your beloved. I pray for your prosperity and your posterity. AD, my brethren, alright, my brethren in Hawaii, they have brethren. Alright, man, y'all get with it, man. Do your own research, man. Don't just, don't follow me. Do your own research. And man, don't be afraid to, to converse with me in a righteous manner. Ahab for the Shabbat. Peace and power.